In the summer of 2002, the captain of the Indian cricket team stood on the balcony of Lord's, the most traditional ground in the sport, stripped off his shirt and violently waved it in the air. For decades, Indian teams were known for their polite, almost deferential behavior. This visceral display of aggression shocked the cricketing world. To understand where this confidence came from, we must rewind to the year 2000. Indian cricket was facing a severe crisis. A massive match-fixing scandal had implicated high-profile players, shattering public trust and leaving the national team's reputation in ruins. Look at this chart comparing the team's match results during the 1990s. You can see a high volume of wins on domestic soil on the left side. But look at the right side. Their overseas victories were practically non-existent. The team possessed a passive psychological profile and routinely crumbled outside their comfort zone. Into this vacuum stepped Sourav Ganguly. Raised in a wealthy family in Calcutta, he was naturally right-handed. But as a child, he wanted to use his brother's cricket gear, so he taught himself to bat left-handed. That adaptation built his notoriously strong offside stroke play. His introduction to the international stage was brutal. Making his one-day international debut in 1992, he scored barely any runs and was immediately dropped from the squad. Most players never recover from that kind of early rejection. Ganguly spent the next 4 years entirely relegated to domestic cricket, hitting thousands of balls in isolation to force his way back. That intense isolation paid off during the 1996 tour of England. Given a second chance, he scored 131 runs at his Lord's Test debut, followed immediately by another century in the next match. He possessed an extreme resilience, exactly the trait the broken Indian side required when they handed him the captaincy in 2000. Taking the reins, Ganguly established one immediate objective. He demanded his squad look dominant sides like Australia and England directly in the eye and strike back. He wanted to eradicate their fear of foreign giants entirely. To build a combat-ready unit, he first secured the team's scoring foundation. He forged a historic partnership with established veteran Sachin Tendulkar, creating an opening pair that routinely gave India explosive starts. He proved his own ability to anchor massive totals alongside other legends. During the 1999 World Cup, he and Rahul Dravid batted together to post a staggering 318-run partnership, dismantling the opposition and etching their names into tournament history. With veteran stability secured, Ganguly executed a radical shift in his recruitment strategy. Instead of prioritizing perfectly polished domestic batting averages, he actively scouted for a raw, fearless attitude. He backed unproven teenagers, thrusting talents like Yuvraj Singh, Virender Sehwag, Harbhajan Singh, and Zahir Khan straight onto the world stage. He gave them the absolute freedom to play their natural, aggressive game without the fear of being dropped for a single bad performance. This specific cocktail, reliable veterans anchoring the innings while fierce young talents attacked the bowlers, yielded massive dividends. By 2003, this squad fought their way to the Cricket World Cup final. Ganguly's aggressive overseas system was producing undeniable results. But in 2005, the momentum of Ganguly's captaincy hit a wall. A bitter, highly publicized ideological conflict erupted between Ganguly and the team's newly appointed head coach, Greg Chappell. The fallout was immediate. Ganguly was stripped of his captaincy and removed from the squad. Across the country, sports columnists and commentators quickly declared his professional career over. Now, the man who demanded resilience from his recruits had to deploy it himself. He retreated to the domestic circuit, reconstructed his batting mechanics, and scored heavily enough to force his way into the national team again in 2006. By reclaiming his spot through sheer volume of runs, Ganguly demonstrated that mental toughness was his personal reality, matching the standard he set for his players. He survived the Chappell exile and returned to score crucial runs against global heavyweights. Looking at this timeline through his 2008 retirement, you see the statistical weight of his output. Across 113 tests and over 300 ODIs, he amassed over 18,000 runs. These 38 peaks represent his international centuries, placing him among his generation's most prolific run scorers. While these numbers are significant, his more permanent contribution was structural. the modern Indian team regularly travels to Australia and England and expects to win. That psychological posture is a direct inheritance from the framework he established. The raw teenagers he shielded in the early 2000s matured into seasoned champions. Players like MS Dhoni took the baton and eventually secured the highest honors in world cricket, validating Ganguly's initial youth investments. He then transitioned from the commentary box to the boardroom. By 2019, he took the highest seat in the sport's domestic hierarchy, becoming the president of the Board of Control for Cricket in India. Yet, for all the global titles and administrative power, his core identity remains anchored to the crowds here at Eden Gardens. To the millions of fans in his hometown of Calcutta, he is simply Dada, the older brother. Sourav Ganguly took over a shattered, timid roster and taught them how to hold their ground. He replaced the anxiety of the 1990s with an unyielding psychological framework that Indian cricket continues to operate on today.